actually live. Oh, we're doing the countdown. 57, 56. I don't know
I
if they
think they
could
can
see us
hear
and
you.
hear us.
Yeah.
Drop where you're tuning in from and if you're watching live on the replay. Oh, you love those pop-ups. Dun, 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 dun. We are currently in Long Island, New York, and it's not that long, Joe.
Oh, oh, shit. Oh,
60, 15. Hey, how you guys doing? Do you guys often make yourself doubt things that you know you can do? You need to get out of your own way. Or you're worried about increasing violence and how to protect yourself in this ever crazy world. I am your host, Shayna Melissa, and we're bringing you another episode of The Shayna Show live from Lockdown BJJ in Ronkonkoma, Long Island, New York. And we have a very special guest here, Mr. Joe Thompson. I want to do you justice. He is a former Marine, yes, a Marine, a 3-time world champion, MMA fighter, black belt, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor who owns a couple of amazing gyms and also teaches self-defense. Thank you, Joe, for being here today and allowing us to share your gym.
I'm going to correct you already now.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a 3-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion.
3-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, I fought pro MMA, but I wasn't a pro MMA world champion. I was a 3-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion.
Oh, okay, I'm glad we straightened that out. So you did MMA and 3-time world champion Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I still compete in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, yes.
Yes, and that's awesome. And he was just competing in Vegas and
3 weeks ago.
Yes, and he usually wins them all.
No,
most of them. All right. So, Joe, can you share with the viewers a little bit about your background and why you chose Jiu-Jitsu and self-defense?
Sure.
And
so, I don't know to say I chose Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu chose me. Jiu-Jitsu chose me. It just fell into my lap, like with most kids. I started martial arts at a young age, and it was Taekwondo that I started with. So to defend myself, I grew up in House, Queens, and as a young kid, it was a tough neighborhood, and you got into a lot of fights and scraps, and not me, because I was such a quiet, good kid. But no, I got into a lot of scraps, and my father put me in Taekwondo to help straighten things out a little bit and learn to defend myself and more or less get more of a discipline instilled in me. So I did that for a number of years until when the discipline didn't come in from the Taekwondo, I joined he signed me up for Marine Corps and I joined the Marines instead.
Oh, wow.
So that's I studied, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, a black belt in American Combat Karate, and a 3rd degree black belt in the Gracie system for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My instructor is Alexander Soka from Soka BJJ. And when I started doing, when the UFC got big in the early mid-90s, I wanted to do MMA. So I started fighting and getting involved in all of that. And when I realized that you had to learn the ground game, that's when I went into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, though, takes a whole other turn. And when I say it chose me because it also, what you learn from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is not just fighting. You learn a way of life and a whole lifestyle that helps you in your mindset, the way you think, the way you go about problem solving in your life, and everything that comes thereafter. So even though Taekwondo and karate were good for that, it didn't teach me the same aspects. Anything I learned from here, I can translate to the street. If I have a guy that's 300 pounds on my back trying to choke me when I go out into the business world and I've got all sorts of problems and multiple tasks that need to be done, I could beat that just as easily as I can beat a guy trying to choke me on my back.
Wow, that's good to know. Don't mess with Joe. Hey, that rhymes.
Well, we do that for, I work with a lot of veterans with PTSD.
Nice.
And it helps them with reduce their medications, and it also helps them in terms of their anxiety and all of that as well that they get from PTSD.
So I guess you started off more for self-defense, but then it led to wanting
Everything
the
else.
strictness, and then
Well, it led into a lifestyle. It didn't lead into any
nice.
other thing in particular other than living a lifestyle and being in a mindset of people with similar interests and a similar lifestyle,
Nice.
wanting to always constantly improve.
And you mentioned mindset. Mindset, master your mindset is very, very important because a lot of us, our own heads get in the way, right? And we think we can't do something and then we don't try and don't do
Yeah,
it.
that's what's great about this is that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to, right? I have women in here that are probably about 110, 115 pounds, and they're tossing around 250, 300-pound guys.
All right. I look
So
forward to
you
that.
could you could do whatever you put your mind to.
Yes.
There's people that come in here overweight, very overweight, or up there in age. I myself am not a young spring chicken any longer. I'm 64 years old, but they come in here and they look at what we do and they're like, "Well, I can't do that. It's too much on my body. My body would give way." And until they learn that they get out on the mat and they actually do it, they realize that they can. And actually, is going to help you accomplish.
Nice.
And once you do that, you can walk out and do just about anything else, right? If I could do
Yeah.
this on the mat, then I could solve any of my life problems that are coming at me.
Mindset is so important. I like to say believe to achieve and just never ever quit. And even in my upcoming 90-day program, Get Healthy and Happy with Me, I start off with mindset because if they don't believe they can do it, then they're not going to take the action
Sure.
steps to make it happen.
Yeah.
So master your mindset is very, very important. And also, I want to thank Joe because big shout out to him. He taught an amazing self-defense class recently, and we have another one coming up.
This Sunday.
Yes,
Sunday.
this Sunday at 12 noon.
Was that the 18th?
And I don't know, it's this Sunday.
I lose track of days.
I
as
believe
well.
so.
I think it's
And
the 18th.
Joe wanted to give back to the fellow healthcare workers, especially the nurses in the community, to show the healthcare workers, I believe, how we can better defend ourselves if we need to. Because I've been in situations where, you have a drug seeker patient that wants a prescription or a sample,
Right.
and there's things, they trap you in an exam room and it's the end of the evening and it's dark and there's no one else around. So this Sunday, Joe's going to take us through different scenarios for healthcare workers where if we're like maybe in the exam room late at night and we're the last ones to lock up and there's one patient left that goes psycho on us, right? What we need to do.
Yeah.
And we used to defend
Yeah, so what I
ourselves.
like to do is I like to give back to the community with what I do, right?
Yeah.
So the self-defense seminars we do with this, I work with the Suffolk County Police Department, and we do a lot of self-defense seminars. We were happen to be at one of them, which is how this all got started, right, for women. But medical workers and the nurses and the people in the medical industry and field, they work a lot of hours. You know that, right? You're
Late
working
at
a lot of hours,
night.
late at night, around the clock,
Mhm.
and you're putting yourself maybe in a situation like you said. You have patients that are there just maybe for specific things like drugs, or they're having some sort of fit of rage or something, and you're in a situation where you need to stop somebody from either pulling on your hair or grabbing at you or grabbing you from behind even, or maybe you're walking to the parking lot.
Yes, that's a big one.
Late at night and trying to get to the car after a 12, 13-hour shift and exhausted. So
And
you're
that's
not thinking clearly.
That's what led me to Joe, actually. I had a situation not that long ago, right near a hospital, where it was very, very, very scary, and I needed to know self-defense. And thank God there was this big 6'5" guy that jumped in the middle of an almost sexual assault. But it was important that I reached out to the police department several times and the sheriff's department several times to offer self-defense. So, and then they had one at yours here. And then now, actually, the sheriff's is going to have one because I kept nagging them. So yes, nag your local police department and sheriff's department to offer a self-defense, to partner up with a jiu-jitsu or Brazilian jiu-jitsu place that it can help both, right? The gym can get some exposure and offer a self-defense class as well.
So you can contact the COPE units at the Suffolk County Police Department, and they're all each precinct has their own, and they'll set up self-defense seminars upon request. Like I said, I work with the 6th precinct and the 3rd precincts right now. So if you're interested in anything, you can contact Tom Delina.
There you go. Contact.
He'd be more than willing to set something up at any of the precincts
Yes.
for you. For self-defense. A lot of the self-defense stuff we show, so people come in here and they, the women go to other self-defense classes that they learn at other schools. I don't do the eye-poking stuff and the kicks down
He
there
does real stuff.
it's not realistic. It's not really going to work in a one-time situation. Yeah, so you might get lucky and it will, but for the reality of it is,
Yes.
it won't work.
And I love Joe's class because the last one I took, he had us hands-on the mat doing these techniques time and time and time again with assistant instructors showing us what we did right, what we did wrong,
Right.
and demonstrating for us and with our bodies.
Yeah, and as I tell everybody that's in all the classes, it's not realistic to believe that you're going to walk into one self-defense class
No,
and really
it's
think you're going to walk
repeat.
out
Yes,
and
yes.
defend yourself. You will learn a couple of things that you can help yourself get out of a situation. Hopefully get out of a situation. Hopefully you're never in that situation, right? Most of the women that come here for some of my self-defense are in a domestic violence situation because 90% of the women who get attacked are attacked by somebody that they know. 80% are in that domestic violence type of situation. So that's why we do a lot of work with that. With them, but you'll learn some techniques. We do a lot of hands-on stuff where you're on the ground. You're learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as a woman for the most part, and not to be stereotypical or sexist in any way. You're going to end up probably being on your back, or at least attacked from behind by a bigger, stronger opponent. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the beauty of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is I'm at my strongest on my back with my legs wrapped around someone, as weird as that may sound.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of the art itself.
And it was nice seeing last time the police department being involved with your
Yeah, they get it
self-defense
because well, it's good
class,
for
too.
them as well, right? Because
Yes,
you're not
they
allowed to
need to
throw
know
punches or any of that stuff in those kind of situations. You've got to be able to defend yourself and put cuffs on somebody. And a lot of the moves that we do are geared around that. But as I said, you're not going to learn any. You're not really going to learn how to defend yourself in one session. It's repetitiveness
Yes.
and actually getting involved in something if you're really serious about it. But you will learn enough to walk out, and you will be able to do the things on the mat with us. The thing I try to stress and bring home on all my self-defense seminars is awareness, right? It's self-awareness and the way that you carry yourself. People will,
Great
who are
point.
going to attack someone are looking for targets, right? The victims, they're looking for someone who looks like a victim. So if you're walking around slouching, moping, not paying attention, looking timid, then that's the person that an assailant is going to say, you know what,
Yep.
that's the guy, that's the person that I'm going to go after because it looks like an easy target.
Yes, like they're
They're not-
looking in their phone, they have their headset on, they
I'm
can't
sure that guy in the
hear.
parking lot that night didn't look at the 6'4",
Well-
300-pound guy and say, I'm going to attack him.
Exactly, exactly. So I was going to ask you some pro tips. So that was a really important one. And know your surroundings too. Like that night that I
Right.
was almost attacked, I looked around, I saw what was hanging out at the bus stop. So I parked as far away from there and as close to the building as I could. I was meticulously looking around. Like I was aware of my surroundings.
so
It
many
wasn't
things
in
that you
my
should
phone.
do.
I wasn't on the headset.
Well, the phone is a bad thing now because everyone walks around when they're looking at their phone and not paying attention to what's going on around them, right? Peripheral vision is really a top thing that you should keep in mind. Always be aware of what's around you. Hold your head up,
Yes.
walk confidently with your shoulders back, not stomping around looking like I'm looking for a fight, but some confidence. Like, you're aware of your surroundings and you're confident that you can defend yourself. And walking, you always, when people are walking past you or looking at you, you glance back to them, let them know you acknowledge them. Don't stare at them because staring brings on, right? If you stare at somebody, that brings awareness to you. It brings them on as if you're trying to challenge them. But you're going to glance in their direction, let them know you're aware they're there. The other thing is when you have your phone in your hand, you should have it up in your hand. You should have the number. If you feel like you're if you're in an area, if you're walking out to a parking lot at 12 o'clock at night in the dark and you're worried about something happening, then you should have your phone in your hand, dial 911.
Yeah, and then you can just hit send.
If you know when you're in a neighborhood,
I've done that before.
that's a compromised neighborhood, then you should have emergency contact on your phone already pre-dialed. You should have the light on your phone because the light on your phone shining will deter someone from coming at you because you just lift the light up and they think that you're already on the phone.
See, that's smart. I was thinking the light would attract them because then they'd be like, see me in the dark.
Deter them. Deter them away from you. Deter them away from you. Don't walk in between cars. All the things you learned as a child. Don't walk around corners. Don't walk in between cars.
Yeah, not behind a big, tall van where nobody can see you. Park under the street light, right? The park light.
And in terms of what we're talking about with the medical field, if you're with a patient that is on drugs or something like that, and they have them strapped in. You make sure you have more than one person around you when when you're
In the
attending to
room.
that patient. If
Yeah.
you're going to get medication, patient shouldn't be allowed to walk around being followed you in any room, right? So somebody should be around when you're walking around. So you're aware of your surroundings and you're making sure that the people that you need around are obtainable.
And it's crazy. I had a really crazy situation one time. I was working in an ER setting, and a lady came in with her husband and her two kids. And I knew something was off. Like, you always go with your gut and your intuition, and you can hear their voice and see the eyes and the moving. And it turns out the husband had threatened to kill the wife and the kids.
Yeah.
And so I had to actually segregate them and not let him know where they were going to be, and then go back in the room like I didn't know anything,
Right.
while I dialed 911. And I'm trying to keep him in the room from going into the wait room where everyone is. Craziness happens with this fellow healthcare providers. You have no idea. It was a crazy situation because I wanted to keep him in the exam room away from the waiting room with
And
everyone.
did you call them?
Oh, yeah. So what I said is, hey, I said, I want to ask you some questions without your kids around. And anyway, so I escorted them to a different room. I didn't let him know where they were going.
Sure.
And I locked them in a different exam room. I dialed 911. I told the workers what was going on. I went back in the exam room, and I had to occupy this guy. Why? It seemed like forever to the police to come. It probably wasn't that long, but when you're in that room, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, but what do? They take him for a 24-hour hold.
And they let him go.
And then they probably let him go the next day.
Yeah, that's why sometimes in situations like that, it's not a good thing to separate or to bring attention to them. It's good to just contact the proper authorities. The women that we work with the domestic violence unit in the Suffolk County Police Department know how to handle those situations best, right? So you contact them. They know how to get involved without getting right, because that person still may be living with that person.
Yeah.
They may not want to leave.
No, exactly. I
And
went
then you put
through
them
with
in
her how to
jeopardy.
get, the order of protection and the court and all that stuff. And then
sometimes those order of
he got out
protections.
and she took him out again.
Right. Sometimes those order
What
of protections, they get an order of protection.
They don't care.
Well, they're still in the same house, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
they
that
move
was
back,
the situation.
and then they
It's
come out of
crazy.
it, puts them more at risk. But that's why these women who I've been working with are so good at that. And people should get involved. If you're in that kind of a situation, you should really, I know it's a tough thing to do, but you reach out to them, and it is discreet, and they do keep it to themselves. And it's
Yes.
or you can contact Long Island Women Against Domestic Violence.
Yeah, that's a good
online,
organization
and
as
it's a great
well.
organization that kind of
Yes.
works directly
Nice
with the police
nonprofit.
department.
And they'll steer you in the right
and
direction.
Right, they'll help you to make sure that you can get help without putting yourself in any jeopardy.
And then also, if they're in Long Island, of course, go to Lockdown. See that?
Well, we've got two
Lockdown
locations now.
Brazilian
One in
Jiu-Jitsu.
Ronkonkoma, and
Which is here.
one in Hewlett as well.
Hewlett,
in
New
the
York.
Five Towns area.
Excellent,
This is in
excellent.
Nassau County. So we're in Nassau and Suffolk County.
And also, if they're on Long Island, oh, I see all those eyeballs on us. You guys drop your names down below where you're watching from. If you guys are on Long Island, come this Sunday to Lockdown BJJ at 12 noon. We're going to teach a self-defense class, right? Well, he's
Especially
going
if
to
you're the
teach it, and I'm just going to participate.
She might be beating me up. I don't know.
I don't know. He didn't show me exactly how to yet. I'm still
She's kind
learning.
of tough. Don't be fooled by her size.
Yeah, so definitely this Sunday, if you guys need the details, we're going to be at the Brazilian Lockdown BJJ on Hawkins Avenue in Ronkonkoma, teaching self-defense at 12 noon EST.
It's
for
going to
at
be
least a good
mostly geared
solid
towards
hour.
the medical community.
Yes.
And really encouraging nurses, people who work, EMT workers, anyone in that field, to come on down and learn some things that might help them in a
Yes.
situation.
And my fellow nurses, please don't be shy and come, because I was talking to a nurse just the other day at Carol Baldwin Center, Breast Center, shout out to you. And she's like, but I know some self-defense. I don't want to take away the seat from another nurse. No, come, because our nurses are so giving and caring about other people that we often put ourselves last, and we really need to learn these self-defense techniques.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And what else do you want to say, Joe?
Oh, wait, let's talk about more
master your mindset. Yeah, you got another pro tip for us? Oh, I have one. Since my almost assault, thank God there was that 6'5" security guard. Shout out to Harry out there. that intervened because he's known that man to cause mischief.
What did you
Well,
buy?
I got a little pepper spray here, a little portable pepper spray.
Sound like my daughter.
I got the personal. So yes, this is a little pepper spray. Just make sure you aim it the correct way if you need it. I also have the personal alarms where you pull out the pin and it gets really, really, really loud. Hopefully that deters
So
them.
these I'm fans of. The personal alarm I'm a fan of.
Not
Pepper spray,
the
I'm
pepper
not.
spray.
No, I'm not a fan of pepper spray. Pepper spray, if you spray it in somebody's eyes, it's just going to piss them off.
Oh, okay. Well, do you think
It's
it'll
not-
buy you like 2 minutes to
It might
get a
buy
head
you a
start?
second. It might not.
I mean, yeah, a couple
It
seconds.
might or might not. By the time you reach and grab the pepper spray, you have to do anything. Again, it goes back to self-awareness and knowing your surroundings,
Yes.
right? You shouldn't let anybody get that close.
Yeah, you
have a
can't be
circle.
digging in your bag for these things. It's got to be on your keychain.
There's a circle around you, right? That you should know your circle of distance. So, and it's usually the extension of your real leg, right? So if you could extend your real leg, anything within that circle that somebody approaches you, then you should feel threatened. You know when somebody's coming at you in a way that's threatening. They're not walking up to you very friendly. If they're walking up to you in an aggressive manner, then you know that once they get in that, you should be facing that person and either hitting the alarm or the phone, or prepared to defend yourself at that minute, right? Because they're not coming up to you to pat you on the back.
And what do you think about the keys if you need? If you
Again,
need, like you're like desperate, you
can
pull
put-
the alarm, they're still
so
going
you go
after
to,
you.
you go to
mace
some
them.
schools and you'll go and the guy put the key in between your fingers and you hit him in the eyeball with the key.
Not that
I hope you actually no. It's not. You're not going to rarely get the eye.
Well, he does
And
teach us how to knock out knees, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's
a good
rare.
one.
It's rare. It's rare that you're going to get it on the target with the key.
Yeah.
Can you do it? Yes. I mean, you could try it if it's that desperate of a situation you're in that, but it's rare that that's really going to work. It's better
Well, then
to
we
know
have
how
to
to
take
defend
your
yourself
class if the
and
keys
how
aren't going to work.
Stop people who are coming at you with maybe even with a weapon. Defend yourself against a knife or a bat or something to that nature. So that way you can disarm them. But then
Yes,
again,
we
like I
want to
said,
disarm
originally
them.
when we started it, and I say to all my classes, disarming a person with a knife or a gun or anything like that is not going to happen in the first class. That's something that takes years and years to learn how to do, right? So, I mean, but you're going to be at least enough to get a distance away to call somebody for help or basically give them what they need in terms of money, if it's money. If you're in a medical situation, nobody in a hospital should have a gun or a knife on them to begin with. I would hope they went through the medical detector.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're making plastic ones now that aren't detected by the metal.
There are
and
things
other
that you
ways.
get through, but there really should be. You should never be alone, right? You should be. If it's that kind of a situation that you feel compromised, then you should have somebody with you, and that's part of being aware
Yes.
again. You have an awareness.
That's a great point. But unfortunately, in healthcare, my fellow healthcare pros know that a lot of the doctors in healthcare facilities are cheap. Because I've been working urgent care for so many years. I'm usually the last one there with the last patient. Even like the receptionist, she takes their last copay. All right, they leave.
Yeah.
So there should always be that receptionist waiting with you or that other person. In reality, that doesn't happen. I was usually the last one to lock because a lot of times the doctors don't want to pay that other staff member another hour to stay with you or something,
Right.
which is not good. Guys, don't be cheap when you hire your healthcare workers, you know?
Is there a security guard at those buildings then? There should
No,
be.
no. I can tell you, I've worked for healthcare insurance companies that hold their own urgent cares. And oh yeah, sometimes, but it's a big, huge building with one guard that's probably at the other end of the building.
If there's medications that are in there that someone might be trying
Should
to break
be,
in and
yeah.
steal, there should be security on
I've
that
worked
premise, right?
so
You
many,
would think
yeah,
that
in
is.
the
If that's the case and they're not, then I wouldn't take the job.
Yes, you're right. The old hip center, they did have a security guard in a huge building that was probably roaming outside somewhere on break. But when I worked for many doctors' offices, I was the last one to lock up. Even the receptionist, she took the last copay, she's gone, and it's like me and a patient. And you're right, for safety, that receptionist should
somebody
stay,
should
and they should pay them
be
that
around.
other half hour.
Somebody should always be around us to make sure that you have a second person as you walk out to
Yeah.
the car, right?
It's crazy.
Especially
some of the
if you're in
things
an
we're doing.
environment where someone might be trying to break in to steal medication or drugs because
Yeah.
they're a drug user and they know it's in there. For the most part, they'll probably try to break in when no one's around.
Yes, thank God. You're right on that because they want the drugs. They don't
They
want
don't
me.
care about hurting anyone. They
Um,
want to just get to the
yeah,
drugs,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And I guess we'll say if you're on Long Island, especially if you're a healthcare pro, it doesn't matter if you're a firefighter, EMT, sheriff's department, police department, some kind of healthcare worker, right?
Yeah,
Nursing assistant,
come
nurse,
down.
LPN, RN, NP, working as the receptionist at the front desk with all those crazy people. I don't know.
But
Um,
all are welcome to come.
yes, all
I
are
am going to
welcome.
gear it towards some of those situations that could happen in that environment, in a medical environment. If you have a person on a stretcher or in an ambulance and you can't restrain
Yes,
them, how do I restrain them to get them strapped down into a stretcher? How do I restrain a person
that's a
who's
good one. I
walking
didn't
into
think
a
about that.
hospital and they're flipping out on drugs or
Mm-hmm.
something like that? How do I calm someone down who has anxiety issues or PTSD itself, and maybe is having a fit of rage at that moment?
Mm.
So we're gonna target all of that.
That's nice that Jill likes to give back to the community, the veterans, the nurses. And again, guys, this is Lockdown Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in Ronkonkoma and in Hewlett,
Yeah.
right? And the website, I believe, is
Like,
lockdownbjj.com.
like on bjj.com. Yeah, I'm big
Yes,
on trying to give back because of, I just feel like the way of life and the lifestyle itself will help you
that's sweet.
every day.
That's sweet. We need more people like you, Joe, in the environment. And I also want to leave on this that maybe we'll see you this Sunday. If you'd like to RSVP, you can either call Lockdown BJJ in Ronkonkoma or Hewlett. Reach out to Joe that way or through the website or reach out to me at worldwellnessexpert.com. And then also, I just wanted to tell you guys, mark your calendars for the Wellness Warriors, since there's healthcare pros on here, for the partnership program. I believe that is Thursday, October 3rd. Mark your calendars at 7 p.m. We're going to have an awesome virtual event for Wellness Warriors geared also towards healthcare professionals like nurses, nurse practitioners. Oh, there we have it up on the screen. Check that out. We're going to put the website up there. You can get it at worldwellnessexpert.com/partner. Again, it's for wellness warriors, healthcare professionals, providers, nurses, nurse practitioners, PAs, those that want to help their clients get better and feel better, but they might not know all the techniques that I have. So it could be nutritionalists, chiropractors, acupuncturists, physical therapists, massage therapists, that we're going to have the Wellness Warriors Partners Program Thursday, October 3rd, 7 p.m. virtually. And you guys can join now at worldwellnessexpert.com/partner and join now or join the wait list. And we will see you October 3rd for the Wellness Warriors Partner Program. We're going to do a one-day virtual event, about 45 minutes, and a live Q&A for healthcare workers that want to empower their clients to get better and feel better, but they might not have tools I do, and they might not have the expertise with autoimmune disorders, medical mysteries, healthier alternatives, a holistic approach, but they want to be able to offer those services to their clients while also enhancing their own earnings without them having to work anymore. So if you're a healthcare pro and you want to help your clients get better without working more hours, then come to worldwellnessexpert.com/partner. Join us Thursday, October 3rd, 7 p.m. virtually for the partner program for about an hour. All right, any final words? That's
I
it.
love
Is it
Shayna's
good?
energy. It's great.
And I'm trying to be less high energy than I normally am to simmer it down for you guys.
It's awesome. But as you
But
said before, I think you should make sure if there is anybody in a situation where it's a domestic violence situation or they feel that they need some help with self-defense for other reasons other than what we just mentioned, you get in touch with the COPE unit with your police departments. Suffolk County Police Department has a COPE unit. You have to double check in Nassau County if that's where you're from. And if you're in a domestic violence unit situation, please contact the domestic violence team over with the Suffolk County Police Department or the Long Island Women Against Domestic Violence.
yes. Oh, thank you, Joe, very much. And we want to see you guys hopefully Sunday at 12 noon here at Lockdown BJJ in Ronkonkoma.
And Shayna's
And
going to beat me up.
yeah, well, I'm going to learn how to. I don't know how yet.
She's
And then
beating me up.
hopefully we'll also see you Thursday, October 3rd, 7 p.m. for the Wellness Partner at worldwellnessexpert.com/be well. Bye.
Mine? Was it too big?